Heyo everyone, it's AJ, and today I just kind of wanted to pop on and just discuss some of the kind of came to realization with the latest season of Bungo Stray Dogs, like the anime, and really it was a case of how different it was being a manga reader. And that sounds very stupid, I know, but it really slapped me in the face this season about the difference between if you're a manga reader and an anime only person, because obviously if you know the series, in the end of season 5 we actually surpassed the manga. So whatever happened in the last episode, for the most part we had no fucking clue what was going to happen, apart from the first couple of seconds we're going to finish off chapter 110. So, but one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about was how the vibes, essentially, are completely different than how they are if you read the chapters monthly to if you just watch them getting animated in the anime. Because at the beginning of season 5, I had been very, 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 outspoken about the fact that I was scared if they were going to animate chapters like 101, 106, and then as the season progressed to then when we got chapter 109. But at the time I was very delusional and thinking, right, at most we might get up to chapter 106, because in the trailer for the season it went up to like chapter 104, 104.5. So I thought, well, already knew that chapter 106 was out at that point, so 106 would make a good cliffhanger. Obviously that never happened, because Bones went, we're just going to quickly go through everything and then like try and round off this arc, because we can't leave it on a cliffhanger because, well, we have caught up so quickly, it's going to be a million billion years before we can have season 6. So, which then brings me to the point of how much they rushed through things, or how quickly they sped through things, ruined, I don't know if ruin's the right word, but it just changed the atmosphere and of certain scenes. Because one of the reasons why I knew chapter 101 was going to get animated, right? And that shit fucking hurt when I read that like a year and a half ago. And it just kind of went in the anime. It just happens. Or that's how it feels. Especially like the fact that chapter 106 and 109 were in the same fucking episodes, right? But the impact of those chapters for me personally, where was fucking dreading like what was going on for the next month, like the cliffhangers from both of those chapters really just fucking messed up shit, right? And because it was in an episode which covered like 5 chapters like that, the impact of those chapters felt like nothing. And I genuinely kind of feel bad for anime only who don't realise or don't understand maybe why manga readers were like getting like upset or getting like overly passionate about these certain scenes. Because especially when it comes to like chapter 101, we had to wait like 8 months to get it resolved. But in the anime it was resolved a week later. Like, it was nothing. Like, the build up of the stress of, oh my god, is Chuya going to drown? Is Fyodor going to drown? Like, what is going on? Obviously we kind of knew that, like, they weren't going to go out that way, but it was more like, what is going to happen? Or even with, like, chapter 106 ended with the lift falling. Like, we didn't know for a month what was going to happen. It was a whole, is Dazai now dead because he, crashed in a fucking lift? Like, how the fuck do you survive a lift falling and crashing and shit like that? Like, we don't know. But, like, none of that stress or, like, suspense was there. It was just gone in an instant, because it's like, oh, here he is. Well, he's already dragging himself, like, through the corridor, because we've cut back from, like, other points of views and whatnot. And it's just like, oh, like, even with like what we're dealing with right now, because as of the time of recording, chapter, like, I'm assuming 111 is going to be next week or like week and a half time, right? Like, we were with the cliffhanger of Aya jumping off the building, and that was 110 for us. Like, that was even stressful when like the anime was doing it in like that second, like, penultimate episode, where it was basically doing the majority of chapter 110, and it was like, see if they had ended on the wave that the manga had ended. Like, I feel like they would have a, like, everyone would have a collective semi-experience of nobody knowing what the fuck was going on, but having that suspense of, why is Aya jumping off the fucking building? Like, I don't know, like, it's hard to put into words, but I feel like the anime experience is so much different from the manga experience, and I've never really experienced that until now. But I think how I usually ingest manga series and anime series that both have, like, obviously a manga series has an anime adaptation, is for the most part I will read the manga and then watch the anime, or I'll read, like, for example, when I started reading Food Wars, I hadn't watched the anime yet, but I wanted to watch the anime, but I picked up the first volume of Food Wars, and I am this kind of stubborn person, whereas I will want to read the manga first before I watch the anime, because I know what it's like for adaptations to work, and like the fact they take things and change whatnot. And given that the manga is meant to be the source material, like this, the main version of the story, if you will, I want that experience first and then have the anime and just take it for what it is. So I basically read, I think it's like the first 10 volumes make up the first season. So I didn't start watching the first season until I read the first 10 first 10 volumes. So it's that kind of thing. But obviously with this season of Bungo Stray Dogs, like, we've already surpassed the manga and the anime, but now we're in this kind of twilight zone of, is this the actual ending that it's going to be in the next, like, 10 odd chapters for the future, right? Or is this a Bones original ending just so that they can kind of wrap up the season, because they didn't want to leave it in such a cliffhanger, but they wanted, like, the Fyodor arc kind of to end. Which then, like, I feel, personally, it's going to be weird now reading the upcoming chapters, because it's going to take us a while to get to where the anime left off, because if they were doing, like, 4 to 5 chapters, like, an episode, it's going to take us a minimum half a year if we're not getting half chapters, right? But that's also if they haven't rushed through stuff, so it could be even longer until we get to this new arc that's, like, developing in the anime. And then it's going to be, well, I've already read this before because I've already watched it, but then what is correct, if that makes sense? This probably doesn't make sense. I know I'm kind of rambling for stuff, but I just kind of have to get it out there because it's not really left my head since this last episode, and especially, like, replying to your comments and whatnot, like, trying to work out what the fuck actually happened in this last episode. And then it's like, do we actually take it as a pinch of salt? Because of it could be Bones just messing with things? And do we just wait for the actual chapters to come out to then confirm, like, all the theories that everyone's been coming out with? Like, is that the way? Because already, the anime is already different from the manga, because Fyodor doesn't hurt his hand in the manga for him not to be able to pilot the helicopter at the end, but Sigma in the anime doesn't shoot him properly through the shoulder, he only grazes him, so, like, it doesn't really affect him, like, to obviously, like, move his arm or whatnot. But in the manga, the way how he's shot should really affect the way, would be the equivalent of he's hurt his hand. So it's hella confusing. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm excited for obviously the upcoming chapters, because obviously, as already previously stated, Generally, the manga is the true form of the story, so we will get the more details about like how everything has came to be. Like, because Asagiri has been very involved with the last 2 seasons, being like, hey, this is how I want things. But obviously, Bones still, at the end of the day, have the major power of what the fuck they do with their own little anime series. And because obviously, there's already slight changes because Bones will have had notes of what the like say like the last couple of chapters have been. Like say like chapter like 106 onwards, they will have had all those notes about what they're planning to do for the chapters because they weren't released yet. And like obviously Asagiri gave them notes about like, hey, I want this to happen, this to happen, this to happen. Because even just the stark difference of how Chuya shot Dazai is already different from the manga. And sucks. But anyway. Petty little bitch. I just wanted to see the bullets, alright? And we never even got to see that in the anime. Rude. And also the fact that Chuya shot him so many more times. Like, okay. Anyway. I'm just rambling, but this is also just a rambling piece. But, yeah. With the chapters, we're obviously going to get, like, more details and how it should have been. So then it's like, is the manga just going to end up, like, retconning everything that, like, the last episode has done just so that they could try and finish it? Which then makes the issue of, they want a season 6. Like, how much damage is this final episode gonna do? Because obviously, if they're just trying to continue on from that, like, if it doesn't line specifically with what Asagiri is planning, like, what the fuck is going to actually happen in this 6th season, which we'll get in, 5 fucking years' time, if we're lucky? Like, who fucking knows? I think I'm just rambling because I'm just kind of wondering, like, what the future holds for this series. Because we're not really going to get any kind of calm resolve just yet until the manga catches up with what was the last episode, if that is the route that everything's going to take. And that's the thing, it's that question of if that is what is meant to happen. Like, is it... I don't know. Should really trust Bones, should we? But I can't, because they've done, like, original endings for other series and stuff like that, which is then, like, skewed things. So it's kind of hard, even with knowing that Asagiri is being, like, very hands-on with it. And that they're planning, they've already, like, stated that they're going to make another series, or another season, or that they want another season. I know I'm probably just sounding like a typical manga reader that's like, oh, the anime's like shit. Like, the anime isn't shit, but it was just experiencing this season just kind of, like, slapped me in the face about how I ingest, like, this series, if that makes sense. Because, like I said, like, see just the stresses of, like, dealing with what the fuck is going on in the chapters, and then having the cliffhangers of those chapters, and then having them not resolved for, like, months upon months. But then it just goes by so quickly in the anime. The impact of those chapters that they had on me personally didn't hit as hard as I thought they would in the anime. Like, I was stressing about it, thinking that I was going to end up fucking bawling my fucking eyes out. And I didn't. I didn't actually properly cry at anything this season. Despite that, I was like, I was so convinced about how things were going to go down. I was going to end up greeting. Like, I got upset, but that's because I think I was getting upset because I knew the emotions I already had from reading the scenes. Like, getting upset over Dazai's speeches to Chuya, because it's just like, like, they're my favourite characters. So obviously, like, especially Chuya, like, thinking of the fact that if Chuya's going to fucking die, I'm no fucking happy. But, like, I think I was getting more emotional because I already knew what was coming, or what should have been coming, rather than the execution of the anime itself of those scenes, if that makes sense. Like, I genuinely kind of, like, I'm not gonna lie, I really need my friend to fucking watch this season so that I can ask his opinions, because he is only anime only. Like, despite how many times I've moaned at him for the years, just being like, hey, can you just fucking read the manga with me? But, like, I genuinely want to know from his perspective, like, how certain scenes impacted him and how he watched them, because I genuinely feel like we're not going to have the same kind of level of how much it fucking destroyed us, like, emotionally. And I don't know if that just... I don't know, I just feel like that kind of does a little bit of a disservice to the anime onlys. Because how they rushed through all these chapters, there wasn't any kind of, I don't know, lingering intensiveness, if that makes sense. I know I've said that, like, all the fucking time, just if that makes sense. Because, frankly, like, my mind is just racing about this, and it just will not leave my head. I just can't get over, like, how this season just really skewed my perception of, like, how I, like, watch and, like, read this series. Mostly because of that just uncertainty of that last episode. Like, obviously, when you already... Just in general, like, if you read the book before you see the film, or anything like that, or TV show, or if you've read, like, the comics before the TV show, or whatever, like, whatever format you've read it in beforehand to then watch it in a, like, digital media format, right? You know, going into, like, said film, TV show, whatever, that it's not going to be exactly how it is as you've read it. But you always hope, for the most part, that they'll hit the cues of, like, this is how you felt when you read this scene. This is how, like, the scene, like, gives you that same kind of intensive feeling when you read, like, that moment, or when you, like, that character, or whatever. It's just a weird kind of Twilight Zone kind of, like, uncertainty of, like, knowing how to take that last episode. For me personally, obviously. There's probably definitely not really anyone else who's having this kind of mental crisis right now about this whole fucking thing. Which in ways, you know what, it would be actually nice just to be an anime only in this circumstance. Just being like, you just take it for what it is, and that's it. Whereas knowing the source material just really, like, messes with your head. Also, just, like, the expectations are just, like, vastly higher. But would I change the fact that I've read all the source material? Fuck no, I would not change that for the world. And the next, like, half a year is going to be interesting, because it's going to be a wee bit of deja vu of, I've already read this, but it's, like, executed in a better format, potentially. So, I don't know. I just feel like I'm going crazy over this, when I really shouldn't, probably, but, yeah. It was definitely a first, let's just say. I know it's not been the first time that, like, an anime has, like, surpassed the manga and whatnot, but it's the first time for me, personally, and it's unsettling. I don't know, like, I think I'd rather, like, always be ahead of the curve, rather than, like, oh, here, the anime is ahead, rather than the source material. And I'm like, I don't know, I like that. And I think that's what's, like, putting me in this weird fucking mental state, is the fact that I don't think I like the fact that the anime is ahead of the manga, because I don't know if I can trust that anime episode. And I think that's my problem. I don't know if it even, say, if a different studio had done it, I don't know if I would be the same. I don't know if it's because I know Bones have a habit of making original endings, so it's kind of hard to take it with a grain of salt. But then it's, like I've said before, but Asagiri's been heavily involved, so surely they should have, like, done him justice. Surely. But who fucking knows? It's this fucking thing, oh, whatever. But yeah. So let me know your wee thoughts down below. Am I just crazy? Am I just overthinking this for, like, no fucking reason? The answer to that is yes. Oh, but no, it's just like, it's just irritating me, and I don't know that's the thing. Because, like, I've watched the episodes again, and I'm just like, but are you right? And that's what annoys me. I think not knowing if this is how it's meant to go is what's unsettling me. I don't know. And especially because I don't know really what's happened at the end, and then there's like lots of theories, and frankly, most of the theories I don't want to be correct. I have celebrated a death. I want that death to stay the death it is. Okay. But yeah, so I'm gonna start rambling because I think I'm just literally just gonna go round and round and round and round about how much of I'm just like a fucking idiot over this, and how much it's just like irritating me. But hopefully you can understand where I'm coming from with the fact that there's definitely a different vibe if you just if you read the manga than if you're just an anime only. And I generally kind of feel bad for anime onlys because like they miss things if they obviously don't read the manga. Not that it's like I'm shaming like anime onlys. Like if you just want to watch the anime, that's fine. Like you do you. It's not the end of the world. But I feel like when it comes to Bungo Stray Dogs, I feel like if you don't read the manga, it's like you just miss some lovely little tidbits and stuff like that just help flesh out the world and the characters, you know? Which then makes me wonder now, because like now that as a fandom, like we're all together in the same place, if this will actually increase more manga readers, because it might now encourage anime onlys, because it's like, oh well, now I can just start reading it from like now, because like I don't need to, I already kind of know the whole story now for like a rough kind of guide. So if I just join in now, like I can kind of stay a part of the fandom, and when it comes to when season 6 comes out, like they'll then understand what it's like to have like they'll be, because obviously it's Asagiri. Like Asagiri's gonna leave us in like a million billion fucking other cliffhangers for like the next like how long this series goes on for. So like suspenseful moments that we've dealt with and just chapter wise, like potentially new readers will then have that exact same feeling, and then when it comes to getting animated and it just goes by like in 2 seconds and it's like, oh, okay, I stressed about that for nothing. That is literally how I felt about when in like chapter like 106 got animated. I genuinely was like, I stressed out over that fucking chapter, and it was like, nah. It was like, why did I bother? Why did I bother? Oh, but anyway, I am going to shut up now because I did say that about 5 minutes ago and I still rambled on. This is why I shouldn't have a platform. Oh, but anyway. Oh, now that the anime is over, like, I can go back to making other fucking Bungo content. So we'll get to that at some point. So as always, I have my big ass Bungo playlist and all the other chapters that we'll be covering over the next few months, as always. So anyway, until next time, I'm AJ, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.